Technology, as we all know, is influencing the way people behave, customer choices, and our insurance are rethinking the way to drive the strategies of the companies. Emerging companies, the Insurtechs, are coming with innovative ideas using emerging technologies and are shaking the way the insurance model is working today. And then we have the interface where services, apps, and technologies are coming together and reshape how the insurance ecosystem is working. And the ecosystem is here to supercharge collaboration. That's why the insurance industry has to adopt an ecosystem approach to boost innovation. And we, collectively, are the insurance ecosystem. That's why you're here today. Welcome, everybody. My name is Silvia Signoretti. I'm the co-founder and the co-organizer of this association and of this summit. I'm very pleased to be here and walk you through the day. And I must say that if today's event is happening, it's all due to the volunteering effort of the leadership team of the Swiss Insurtech Hub, and also of the effort of all our members. But above all, is also thanks to the generosity of our partners. We have Lavodoise, Prometeia, Google Cloud, and Deloitte Switzerland. Thank you, everybody. On that note, I would like to welcome on stage the Managing Director of Google Cloud for Switzerland and Austria, because it's thanks to Roy and his team that today's event is happening in this amazing facility. And we have received so much help from the teams supporting us in every aspect of the logistics. So let's welcome Roy on stage.
Hello. Good. Also, a warm welcome from my side. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you here. First of all, we are in Switzerland, so I'll welcome you in Swiss German. Grüezi miteinander. Today is a good day for two reasons. First, the one that we planned, this fantastic event, which we are honored to host. And second, who is Swiss in here? Hauptschweiz! So, very good. Unfortunately, if there are some Germans here, I'm so sorry. The Italians, well, you didn't even, okay, I'm sorry. So anyway, today is a good day. My name is Roy. I'm the Managing Director of Google Cloud in Switzerland and Austria. And show of hands, where are the startups? Super. You know, I spent most of my career in financial services, and also for 3 years I ran a startup, so I know the pain. I know the sleepless nights. It is hard. And when Silvia, there are two Silvias, right? So when Silvia asked me, how about we organize the first event here, the immediate reaction was absolutely. We need to cherish, we need to foster, we need to applaud all of you working in the startup ecosystem. No innovation really happens without you. You push all of us further, and it is wonderful. When Silvia told me, yes, you know, maybe 80 people, maybe 100 people, the room is full, almost 250 people. So congratulations also for putting this together. Very well done. And I'm very excited for today. Again, a warm welcome. It's wonderful to be with you, many old and new friends. And with that, I'll hand it over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roy. And now, with equal pleasure, I would like to introduce you to the president of the Swiss Insurtech Hub, Silvia Savini. Silvia, join us on stage.
It is wonderful to see so many insurance and innovation professionals gather here in the room at the same time. What brings us all here together today is the vision to innovate and build brilliant solutions to solve key everyday problems. The Swiss Insurtech Hub was born by the shared desire of few insurance professionals to bring together the genius of insurance and innovation in one place, to bring together people and ideas with the aim to build something very new and impactful. Since the association was first launched from the brilliant idea of Alessandro Paoli, it was only 2 years ago. Everyone in our team has been working tirelessly to build a stage where startups could meet and network with the broader insurance ecosystem and have a place to thrive and grow through our network. Today, I'm very pleased to say that we have over 250 memberships, which equates actually to over 1,000 people in just 2 years, many of which I have the pleasure to see in front of me now. We are all here today to bring together different ideas and different expertise and different experience. I'm tremendously proud of our work, making a difference in our industry, delivering impact in society through well-being, life and insurance, medical insurance, customer service through digital solutions, cyber and security solutions, just to name a few of the startups that are part of our network. We have reached many achievements during this time. We have hosted a lot of online and in-person events. And I want to take the opportunity again to thank our Chief of Staff, Silvia Signoretti, and the wide Swiss Insurtech team for the extraordinary effort to make this happen. Thank you so much to you all for being here today and for the work that you all do in the industry. Thank you to the Swiss Insurtech Hub for the contribution to our industry. I wish you a wonderful summit and best of luck to the startups of the award. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Silvia. Really, we appreciate the amazing leadership that you brought into this team and the way you led us. And as a friend, really, thank you for the support you've given all this past month. Thanks. But as Silvia said, this is a special effort, a collective effort, thanks to all of you if you're here today. And now I'm very pleased to walk you through how the day is going to work. So this is the agenda. The summit is divided in 3 sections. We will begin with a keynote speech from Deloitte. Deloitte Switzerland is here to share the results of a study they have conducted in collaboration with the Swiss Insurtech Hub. And we will move on to a panel discussion where leaders from the insurance and the tech industries are going to share with us their experience and perspective on how to fuel innovation in the insurance industry. Then we will be moving into the last part of the day, which is the moment we're going to find out the winner of the very first Swiss Insurtech of the year. That session will be live streamed, so we will have other people joining us on video. And I only ask a big favor. as we try to run on schedule for the live streaming, and given the large amount of people in this room, which is really overwhelming, I will ask everybody to hold on their questions till the very end. We have planted plenty of time for the apero outside, so you hold your question and let's continue the conversation outside with a glass of wine, if you don't mind. So let's get started, and let me welcome on stage our colleagues from Deloitte. They're representing the finance service transformation practice to present the studies on the opportunities, challenges, and trends in the insurance industry in Switzerland. Mark Grutter, Fabienne Wickler, Saskia Weiss, please join me on stage.
Welcome as well from our side, from Deloitte, and also a big thank you to Silvia and Silvia for the amazing energy they put in all the organization. Preparation is really everything perfect, and it was really enjoyable to work together with you to this stage. First of all, as said, we have prepared a specific study for today. We are presenting the results. We have a very tough timeline, and for sure there will be a lot of questions around. We will keep some time in the end so that you can ask some question. And if there's still something open, so you can also contact us afterwards, and you will get also our contact details. So first of all, in the first part, initial view on the market. And then I'm handing over to Fabienne and Saskia, who will give you concrete insights on the results of the study we have performed in the past weeks, and I think that's quite insightful what we have learned here. Generally, and I think that's the positive message, I think the global Insurtech market is very strongly growing until 2030. And what we see is also that given the current economic issues, I think the growth is unaffected if you look at it more from a mid-long-term perspective. And the market will grow to revenues of approximately 152 billion. And what we have seen, especially in 2021, there have been over 500 deals globally and revenues of approximately 3.8 billion. And at the same time in 2021, a funding of 15 billion. So I think really that the Insurtechs are really well funded still currently, and that's quite unaffected. If you look more from a segment perspective, we see a lot of the funding going into the health segment. And from a regional perspective, obviously a lot going on in the North American market, but there is great growth momentum in the Asia Pacific market, which potentially at a certain point of time could take over if the growth situation does not change. I think there are overall three factors impacting this great growth in the upcoming years. I think first of all, the whole situation with legacy, traditional insurance operating models, business models, and there's a lot of opportunity around digitization and making the model smarter. And we all know that lessons learned from the pandemic. I think clearly also from a valuation perspective, if you look at the stock market business models that are highly scalable, have a greater performance at the stock markets than those relying more on physical distribution. So digitization is really key, and it has been accelerated through growth. So there's no way of return. The second, also breaking up the value chain. I think we see a lot of cost pressure in the industry. And I think insurance companies need to be very cautious also of what makes them differentiating and what not. So really thinking towards the customer and thinking what is differentiating. Therefore, outsourcing a lot of non-differentiating activities and breaking up the value chain. And all this thinking is supported and offers great opportunities for insurtech companies. And finally, I think really the whole topic around hyper-personalization, the client in the core, really providing the best value, being the one-stop shop, giving a great client experience. I think these are, from our view, really the three major trends that will drive the growth over the next years. Also, if you break it down to the European perspective, we are a bit delayed regarding, in comparison especially to the US market, but in the European market, there has been a good acceleration of the growth in the past year that we have seen. I mean, the whole funding situation in 2021 from 600 million grown to 2.5 billion. It's a tripling of the funding, which is really great. The average deal size is around 28 million, what we see, and there have been around 92 relevant deals. From a value chain perspective, if you look at product development, pricing, sales distribution, claims, there's a lot of focus at the moment still on sales, but that will definitely evolve over time. And from a market perspective, clear focus on UK, France, Germany, where we see most of the deals going on. Then there's clearly, as said, along this market, there's a lot of regional differentiation. There's more low risk tolerance, for example, in the US market. And I think a very specific topic in Europe is the regulation. I think, for example, the Insurance Distribution Directive, or also more generally, I think a lot of regulation coming up and becoming more important around conduct and conduct risk, which is having a great attention. I think on the other side, creating a lot of opportunities for insurtech companies to address needs with regards to emerging regulations and upcoming regulations, better managing of regulations. And what we also see, obviously, as we are a mature market with a lot of attractive business models around and ideas being created, as we present also this evening, that market is attractive also for foreign investors, which we see really predominant, that more investors outside of Europe are looking into European insurtech markets to find attractive targets. And I think that's really positive, given Europe has always traditionally focused on really good and strong education and innovation and so on. And I hope that this trend will persist also in the future. Now, handing over, this is a short introduction on the market. Now, what has been coming out from our study, and handing over to Fabienne.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, so I have the pleasure, like Sylvia mentioned before, to talk to you about the study that we have conducted. So let me tell you what have we done. So we have conducted a study with the aim to analyze the trends, the challenges, and the opportunities of the collaboration between insurers/reinsurers and insurtechs. So if we have a quick look at the participants, about half of them, 50-50, so half of them were reinsurers/insurance, and the other half were insurtechs. It was really the aim to also look and compare the expectations as well as the needs of the insurance with the current offering of the insurtechs to make sure whether it's compatible or not, and if there's any need for adjustment. Just some key figures around the characteristics of the participants for your information, and then I will get to the key insights of both the insurers and the insurtechs. So if we have a look at the insurers first, more than 70% are present in the market for over 15 years. I think this is a logical consequence of the market that we're in. And almost over 80% are large enterprises, which I think makes sense in our Swiss markets. If we look at the insurtechs, over 80% have been present in the market up until 4 years. This is also in line with what Mark said before in terms of the trends that we see and more insurtechs emerging, which is great. And 50% actually indicated that the project revenue and the equity are the main source of their funding. So this is just very shortly to introduce to you who the people were that actually participated in the survey. So let me first give you an overview of the key insights from the insurer's perspective and then go to the insurtechs. So in terms of the key funding sources for the projects that they have with the Insurtechs, we can see that more than 36% relied actually on their internal budgets, to fund these projects. And 55% have invested over $1 million in 21, and which is a trend which is expected for them to continue as well. If we look at the focus areas of the value chains where the insurers have invested in at the moment, it's marketing and distribution, claims, as well as product development. And these are areas which they have implemented in or is a focus area for the future as well. And the average duration of a project from an insurance perspective were between 6 and 12 months. If we go and look at the Insurtech's perspective to see whether it matches up or not, it's interesting to see that they have a very ambitious geographical focus, which makes sense because it's also, we're in a digital world, right? So we can see that they offer mostly in Western Europe, Switzerland, US, and Canada. And now, which is very interesting, if we look at the focus areas of the Insurtechs as well, oh, it's huge behind me, you can see that they target exactly the same parts of the value chain. So also marketing and distribution and product development. So we can see that there is a clear match between what is actually being offered by a lot of you here in the room to the ones that receive on the other end. And then in terms of the time to market, so how long actually the average duration of a project is between 2 and 6 months. So this is less than what the insurers actually expect. So this is a short overview of the key insights that we have. We obviously have a lot more insight, but these are the ones that we wanted to highlight to you. Happy to discuss these also afterwards. I will now hand over to Saskia, who will actually talk to you about collaboration between the two and what we would see for the future.
Thank you. So first of all, the good news is we can see a very strong potential for cooperation between insurance companies and Insurtechs. But what are actually preferred forms of collaboration between the two? Well, both have mentioned co-branding, so integrating a service offered by Insurtech under the Insurtech's name. But what insurance companies for sure would even more prefer is what's called white labeling, so offering a service or a product developed by the Insurtech under their own brand. Then what areas are seen for the biggest potential in the future to develop such innovative solutions? So overall, it's seen for process digitalization and automation using robotics, data analytics, but also artificial intelligence for sure. And this is not only for like personalizing already existing products, but also to really develop innovative solutions to develop the industry and enhance the customer experience. Areas like process-wise and customer experience-wise, which were specifically mentioned, are in terms of claims management. So there is seen a lot of potential in terms of having more efficient processes, like also, for example, fraud detective systems and all these kinds of solutions who could help to operate more effectively, but also to enhance the user experience. Then what tools are used for such projects are like the well-knowns, for example, Google Cloud. The others here listed, we don't mention in this round. And also a lot of participants answered that more and more they also use more and more in-house, so own developed tools for such projects and service offerings. Then we can see a lot of opportunities, as just seen before. So a lot of the participants from the insurance company side, they perceive as one of the key motivation factor that the growing insurtech market really motivates them to enhance their digital solutions and to develop further in this area, and see the collaboration really beneficial for like general innovation within the insurance industry. And a lot of the participants actually already have collaborated together with Insurtechs in the past, and most of them also are currently engaging in such collaboration projects. Well, on one hand, we have like the opportunities and the benefits, but there's also like perceived some main challenges for the collaboration. To have like a successful collaboration and a successful solution and product offering in the end. So what participants have seen like most challenging is that the solutions Insurtechs offer, that still a lot of tailoring is needed to actually that they can actually be implemented in their processes and systems to then really make use and benefit of the solutions. Also, because insurance is a regulated industry, there will be some legal limitations, but maybe also from an organizational and operational side. And last but not least, it's really important that also the employees from the insurance side have the necessary skills and know-how to then really use the solutions. And they see this as a main challenge, that like the Insurtechs have like all the skills, but then the communication between the two is maybe not that well, so then they cannot make full use of the product of the products and service offering. So having said that, what are the key success factors that we can like really create win-win opportunities for both sides? So first of all, it's really important that Insurtechs are not seen as a silver bullet. So really make use of different skills and capabilities and work together with different Insurtechs to create solutions for the key business challenges. Then what's more, it's really important to manage expectation and set clear goals. It's important that it is clear from the beginning what the end solutions would look like and what's the benefit for both parts and all the key stakeholders involved. Not only in quantitative terms like key KPIs to measure the success of the project, but also in quantitative terms, which means it must be really clear, like at the end of the project, what is the competitive advantage for the insurance company. And also, what we also seen before as perceived as main challenges is to really have the right capabilities in place and have the right talents and employees to really drive this. And also this needs to fit in the culture. And this brings us to the last key success factor we want to mention here, is that it really needs to be part of the strategy. There needs to be a mindset shift, and it must really clearly set that, like on one hand, that the current processes want to be developed to operate more efficient in different areas, but on the other hand, also to really introduce innovation and create new solutions to enhance the end user experience. And for sure, having clear investments for both of these. And having this in mind, together with all the great solutions around Insurtech and startups in the market around. I truly believe that together we can shape the future and reinvent insurance in the long run. This brings us to the end, and we would like to thank you for your interest and for your attention. And we really look forward to continuing the conversation with you at the apéro afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Saskia, Mark, and Fabienne. It's really great to hear that insurance think that insurtechs are needed to fuel innovation in their organization. So let's keep going. We are in the right path. And now I would like to introduce you to the next section of today's event. We have organized a panel discussion. We are going to get on stage C-suite leaders from insurance, the tech industry, and this panel is going to be moderated by Massimo Michaud. Massimo is also a member of the leadership team of the Swiss Insurtech Hub. Most importantly, he brings a vast experience from the insurance business, as he's been working in management consulting for 15 years at McKinsey, and he also been holding managing director positions for various branches or subsidiaries of corporations such as Generali, AXA, and Allianz from France, Belgium, and Italy. Massimo, I would like to welcome you and the panelists to all join us on stage.
Thank you. So, we have our panel. Stephanie Lloyd, Ravina Mehta, Raphael Schmidt, Stefan Schurman, Roy Tavor. Please. Let's move one there. That's fine. So, we are talking about ecosystem. And we have a fantastic panel today. Because, yes, I can tell you, you have the innovators on the panel. You have got the technology leaders on the panel. And you've got a representative of brokers and companies. So it's an ideal panel to talk about cooperation, about collaboration, about how to link and how to cooperate more, because cooperation is essential for the future. So I'm very, very grateful to the Swiss Insurtech Hub to have organized this panel. And I will start my first question with Stephanie Lloyd. Stephanie is the CEO of LiveWell. She is an innovator within the incumbent. She has been innovator within incumbent in Farmers in the United States. She is the innovator today within the Zurich Group. So she knows how to push innovation. You started with Toggle, if I remember correctly. How to push the insurance innovation. She has obviously a lot of awards. I'm just going to say that she got in 2019 the Woman in Insurance Leadership Award, and she holds a Master of Art from the University of Essex and a Bachelor of Art from the University of California, if I understand correctly. So we are talking about ecosystem. And you as an innovator within an incumbent, tell us, how do you proceed? How do you work in order to build an ecosystem? What is the role that you have to put when you build an ecosystem, the role of the client?
Yeah, I love that question. I think in both my examples, both within Farmers, founding Toggle, which was an insurtech inside of Farmers, And then now over at LiveWell, really focusing on the digital health and well-being space, we're in a position where we're an orchestrator within that ecosystem. But I think where it starts is the end user, it's the customer. It's really understanding your customers inside and out to know exactly, what they need, and then being honest about what is a core capability and something you should be delivering, and what is something that you have a right to the space, but it doesn't necessarily make sense for you to go out and build it. And so you've got to make good decisions on build versus buy versus rent. But for me, again, it always came back to what the customer needed and wanted and what made sense within the ecosystem to bring forward.
And how did you do that with the renter's credit rating when you started?
Yeah, so in our pre-panel talk, I told Massimo about one of my favorite examples in our ecosystem. So we were building a digital insurance company inside of Farmers focused on next generation consumers. And within that, there was some channel conflict. I don't know if you guys in the insurance business know channel conflict with brokers, exclusive agents, digital. It's landmines. And so we kind of tried to figure out demographics, what product to build, and how to navigate some internal politics, let's say. And what made sense for us to go build was renters. And when we looked at the average renter, one thing, they were really starting their journey and trying to make financial progress and kind of adult. And for us, it was around how do we help them on that journey? And yes, there's insurance, and we were the experts in that. We could do that just fine. One thing we identified is a lot of them had low credit scores because they were just starting out. And in the US, your credit score impacts everything. The price you pay for insurance, your credit cards, loans, even getting an apartment. It rules. Whether it should or not, different debate, but it was there. And what we found is renters, their biggest monthly outgoing was for their rent payment. And that on-time rent payment didn't actually help them build their credit because nobody reported it. If they missed their rent payment, that got reported, and that moved their credit score down. And we found a company that actually digitized the process, automated the process of reporting on-time rent payments to all 3 credit bureaus. That to us was just like a huge aha moment because A, we didn't know that all of us paying rent on time wasn't helping us, and we were all very upset by that. And then we just found that that was like a moment of delight for our users. Like we were looking out for them. We were thinking of them more than just how do we sell more insurance products, but how do we, again, delight and help them on their journey. And so just by signing up for the service, which was actually very, very cheap, their average credit score improved by like 30 points. Which could be life-altering, sadly.
Fantastic. And this is interesting when you hear the words, we have to build around the customers. But then when you actually do, is what you do. You just think from the customer's viewpoint, and you find an opportunity to make them happy. And there was an opportunity there to make their score better, but nobody had thought about it. And they did, and they created a huge benefit for the customers. That's fantastic. Ravina Mehta. Ravina Mehta is a serial entrepreneur. When she was little, she was already an entrepreneur because she was in a family of entrepreneurs. She's been always in entrepreneurship, and she has obviously Forbes list of top women-led startup and all sorts of recognition. Ravina is the founder also of Enterprise Bot, and you have the other perspective. You have the perspective of the company that is the innovator, but is not within an insurer. You're an innovator, but you have to deal with the insurers. So my question is, what inspired you, first of all, to build Enterprise Bot, and which features were needed to cooperate successfully with incumbents?
Thank you. Also, at the outset, that made entrepreneurship look very easy and successful by calling me a serial entrepreneur. But I think one of the big things is that you learn very quickly and for me, the very first startup I founded was when I was 21, and it was a fitness center And I think I was the only one that got fit from my fitness center. So, so just to say, it's not only successful entrepreneurship, but there have been a lot of lessons learned. It's not easy, for sure, to work in this big insurance world because we do have a lot of legacy systems that we have to deal with. We do have a lot of regulations, as was mentioned before. There is also a big need to build a product that kind of fits everybody, but at the same time can be customized. So when we saw the study from Deloitte earlier, where it mentioned that, large insurers don't want this customization, at the same time, they do to a certain extent. So what we've been able to do really well is kind of create these pre-trained data sets where, your ethanol processes are similar, your customer experience, what your customer wants when it comes to health, et cetera, is very similar. So I think what's important is to also lay down a few processes as a startup. So when you are in a position to kind of have an equal say in those KPIs, kind of have an equal say also in terms of what value you drive, because it's important for you to be able to stand up, speak the insurer's language, tell them that, okay, guys, legacy systems, we have these kind of pre-trained integrations for that. This is what we bring to the table. And I think at the end of the day, it's very important to co-create. Because when you are just a supplier and trying to create something in silos, they're already working with big silos internally. So I think that communication needs to be really, really clear. And I think the whole entrepreneurship background teaches us something which we in Hindi call jugaad, which means a very creative solution with whatever you have. So you have to really kind of break down the problems and see how you can creatively kind of find a good way together.
But you mentioned that being an entrepreneur is difficult, it's a difficult endeavor, and I think it's possibly the most difficult endeavor. I tried a few jobs in my life, and that one was the worst, by far the worst and the most difficult. And what I wanted to ask you is when you are an entrepreneur and you are together with an insurer, how do you deal? How do you explained to us before that in chat, when you want to establish chatbot, there is a part that is about doing and creating the solution, but a part of it is the education and the perimeter you are going to create. How do you go about it? Mm-hmm. Give us, take an example that you've done with a client and tell us how you went through that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, one of the examples I can give you is with Generali in Switzerland, because they're one of our first insurance clients, and that was a huge learning experience for us. So we started with them in 2018. Some of the stuff that really helped us is, again, processes around how we engage with them. So with Enterprise Bot, it's very specific to exploration, incubation, scale. We learned very early on that in the exploration phase, we need to have not only the decision makers that pay for this and that are wowed by a presentation and say, let's do this tomorrow, but also the showstoppers. So we usually put in one room, in one workshop, kind of all of these key stakeholders. So even with Generali, for example, it was at the time the COO, but along with the COO, there was, for example, the risk people saying, sorry, no authentication via chatbot. I mean, you can't even, for example, have agents, real people behind live chat doing a lot of things, and data security and those kind of topics. But today we're in an omni-channel solution with Generali. So, for example, we have our omni-channel AI for email, for voice, even in Swiss German. Yeah, when you look at me, you might not believe that, but you can actually chat with one of the bots and actually speak to it in Swiss German. So the point is, today with Generali, for example, all of their emails go through our AI when they come in, and certain processes. So if you're ordering a green card, which is quite a regular request, this is fully automated. So Enterprise Bot understands this request, whichever language it comes in. It then creates a job for the UiPath robot. It's a completely no-touch process. So the people on the other side, the customers, have this great experience where they receive the green card, they can get automated notifications, whichever channel they reach, and yeah, everything is basically seamless.
Fantastic. I like the applause. You can go for the applause. It's a great job. So now the people who allow us to do all that, the technology background. Roy is a very, very interesting profile because he, on the one hand, is an expert in financial services. He has worked in banks. He's been an entrepreneur himself. He has co-founded Namo, which is a data-driven open banking application, who provided this kind of application. He's spent 15 years as senior executive of Google, and is managing Alps. It's nice, Alps. I like that. We make it's also our symbol, the Alps, and Matterhorn in particular, at Google Cloud. So, Roy, how this service provided by big tech, such as Google, can help build ecosystem? How can they actually create the condition? Because we always give that for granted. We take that for granted. We say, okay, fine. At the end of the day, there is everything there. But I think there is quite a lot behind that help and which service can be found.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Good. I always have to check. Thank you for the question. First of all, I want to congratulate you for the commercials at Farmers. Next to Geico, I spent a lot of time in the US. It's super funny. So from a customer experience there, awareness, you're doing a fantastic job. And then I think Enterprise Bot is fully built on Google Cloud, which I didn't know. I just checked it before. So also fantastic.
So we have the third commercial now.
Yes, exactly. Listen, Massimo, I mean, if you ask me, is everything there? I mean, there's nothing there. The idea that you just plug and play is an illusion. Every customer is different. And, I don't come from the tech side. I come from the more business side. And I think what is really important is to understand it's a people's business. So when we get people into the room, and I say that, coming from Google, we love our solutions, but we need to love our solutions a little less. And we need to love our customers' problems much more. And we need to understand our customers' problem in depth. And here, I'm very happy because obviously we work with all the large corporations, incumbents in Switzerland, Austria, and globally, but we have a very strong digital native practice. And for us, this is critical because we learn from each other. So this idea that, we're Google and we know everything and it's going to be easy and we, plug and play. No, that's not how it works. I think collaboration is key. And we have many examples how this can impact really the lives of our customers. And now with customers, I don't mean necessarily our customers, but the final customers. So we also always think about the final customer. And something that I always say to my colleagues and also to our customers, if it does not move the needle, we should not be engaged. Innovation just for the sake of innovation is useless. It's a waste of time. It has to have an impact, and that impact has to be measurable because otherwise it's just a waste of time.
That's very interesting because sometimes we fall in love with technology and we love the solution and we start of dreaming of the different possible application without actually having them done. And you, as a managing director of Google Cloud, how did you go about with your team in order to help them work with the customers in the way you are? What are you doing in the day-to-day or in your activity and strategy to make them work on that basis, or make the client feeling that they have to think more in terms of processes, people engagement, and things like that?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question. And I think, Saskia, for not mentioning AWS, even though I saw it on the slide, but it's no problem. It's a wonderful firm, all good. And I think this is extremely relevant because for all of you living in Switzerland, there's Coop and there's Migros, and sometimes I go to Coop and sometimes I go to Migros. And I think what is extremely relevant for us, we were late in the game, okay? It's very clear on the B2C side, we are the leader. There is no other global platform where we have billions of users on a daily basis. And this sexiness, this intelligence that we have on the B2C side, we are bringing to the enterprise side. Our cloud is in Switzerland, the data is in Switzerland. It's extremely relevant when we talk about health data, sensitive data. And one thing that I will say is we need to talk to the right people. So sometimes a lot of people have ideas and they come for intellectual stimulation. And that is something that I think all of us in the room have to, limit as much as possible, because obviously it's nice to have a strategy session and a visionary session, but then we all run a business. And this is something sometimes we need to sharpen on the focus with our teams. And I'm very glad, over the last year and a half, we have made tremendous efforts and outreaches to the community in Switzerland. And I think it's working. And there are two reasons why people come to Google Cloud. One is security. There's nobody else, I can say that, who deals with security the way we do, based on our experience on the billions of user B2C. And the other is data AI. There's nobody who understands data the way we do. And I always like to say, I love Spotify, but Spotify is Google Cloud. So whenever you listen to Spotify, the intelligence behind is Google Cloud. I think those are the key drivers for our business.
You are convincing us that Google is also one of the biggest white label that is behind a lot of things, actually. So it's
100%, 100%. And okay. I'm very happy. And I just want to answer that question also. Why do customers come to us? It's our job to convince the customer that there is value. Without there being value, either on the infrastructure side or app modernization side, there's competitors and they're doing all a wonderful job. So it's our job to convince our new customers why they should be working with us. And one example that I want to share is Coinbase. Maybe right now it's a winter for cryptocurrencies, but the partnership with Coinbase is transformational for us. It was built on another competitor's platform, and now it's going to be moved to a large extent to Google Cloud. And it was not because we're cheaper, maybe a little bit, but it's mostly because we are able to demonstrate value to Coinbase in their global operations.
So focus on the business. Talking about business, I come to Raphael Schmidt. Was a long experience in specialty lines with Aon, and has just been appointed to the Swiss Executive Board from January of the broker in its capacity of head of specialty business in Switzerland. And you also like blues, and you are a guitarist, professional guitarist, whereas Roy loves classical music, if I understand correctly, and he is a very, very sporty man. So we have also to look at the human side.
I like to swim.
Because I didn't ask question to the ladies because I would have been, the typical Italian. But I can speak about the gentleman. Raphael, how significant are ecosystem for specialty lines, and where are the ecosystem actually applied in specialty lines?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Existentially important for specialty lines. When I think of specialty, so basically all types of financial loss risks that we look after outside of the property damage and bodily injury space. there's been a huge transformation there as well. Started off basically with kidnapping risks. When I started out in the industry, that was the first sort of silhouette of an ecosystem that I saw, because we were bringing together service providers in crisis situations with insurance companies that would pay for ransoms. But that ultimately, that sort of lived quietly and under wraps because of the sensitivity of the underlying subject. But the first big ecosystem that we started developing as Aon was cyber. And we did that roughly 7 years ago, and we recognized that you cannot solve the problems of our customers anymore by executing a simple insurance transaction. It's just too big. And so we actually bought a firm in the United States called Strauss Friedberg, a digital forensics and incident response firm, and started building up capabilities left and right. So in fact, that led us also to have a softer landing in what happened to the insurance market, specifically for cyber about 18 months ago. Market basically imploded. Why? Because ecosystems did not exist. It was really just focused on transferring the risk out to the balance sheet of an insurance company, but that's not sufficient. So what we do is we build services around assessment, quantification of cyber risks, incident response, and transfer as well. Obviously, we still want to place insurance. That's at the heart of what we do, and we'll always be good at that. But we recognize that it's bigger. It transcends just the insurance needs that clients have, and it made us successful in that space. And we're working on intellectual property right now. That's the big next ecosystem for us, where, again, we're quantifying intangible assets, which is not easy. If you look at the S&P 500, the shift over the last 40 years has been tremendous. I mean, from tangible assets, property, to intangible assets. And the great thing about it is we can take a lot of the takeaways and learnings from cyber and apply it to intellectual property. So we're building solutions such as collateral protection insurance, wrapping that around growth capital deals. So actually bringing banks, insurance companies, and startups together that have great ideas, patents that they utilize to actually raise capital in a non-dilutive way. So a lot of things going on, and I could go on. Digital assets, you mentioned Coinbase. It's one of the next ecosystems as well, for sure. I would say that in the digital asset space, so helping companies also basically transform to Web3. So using decentralized technology is interesting, because if you look at, there's a statistic out there that we like to utilize. So 97% of cryptocurrencies are currently uninsured. So it's a huge potential for us. And we saw now with recent events that
tell us what you think about FTX and
well,
what has gone.
That's a controversial one. It's a controversial one. No, look, I mean, ultimately, I think that case in particular is still being assessed and what's going on. But I think what's clear for now is that was a balance sheet issue. This could have happened in a traditional company as well. The reputational aspect is much bigger of what's going on within the crypto space right now. But it shows again that regulation is important, should be part of the ecosystem that was missing. So an event like this probably could have happened less likely, at least on that scale. Also, if regulation was in place, so the scream and cry for regulation, I think, will increase, which is a good thing. And then ultimately, again, building an ecosystem. So at this juncture, we're actually looking for ways to partner, invest in the digital asset space. So this is the smallest ecosystem that we have, but we want to build it and scale it as we go.
Great. No, I think one of the things we don't consider enough is the importance of the intangible assets in the balance sheets. And this is growing, it's becoming very important. Just think about the value of the brand for many, many companies that we know, and or the patents and the licenses and things like that. And this is often overlooked. And it's an area that is of extreme interest and extreme importance going to the future, especially in the links that could be in attack to your own reputation in the market. So it's fascinating. Now, Stefan, I left you at last to speak because I wanted the reaction from the incumbent. And we have the pleasure to be with you. You are one of our members of the association, one of the first incumbent members of the association, and we have started, and you believed in us, so I'm very grateful for that. But also, I would like to point out, you are today director of corporate and M&A at Vaudoise Assurance, a board member of Neocredit, AG, and Ben Invest. You're also had a lot of training as a board member, so that's an area that is very interesting for risk, because I think that risk has not arrived yet at the level of boards. But also you have been a financial analyst in insurance, working for Vontobel, Crédit Agricole Chevreux, Pictet, FG, in Dubai, and you also were rated the best financial analyst in Switzerland. You got that kind of award. So you have a view from the internal part, the incumbent, but also from the investor kind of look. So it's quite interesting, your position. So how do you see the value of ecosystem in insurance, and what is the kind of approach that can be proposed for an insurance, and what do you actually do at Vaudoise? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Thank you, Massimo. So I'm very happy to be here for Vaudoise. True, yeah, I changed perspective. I was looking at all these insurance companies for years and then seeing what they do and, judging on them and having an opinion. Now from the inside, trying to do the same, it's just not as fast as you would like. I think there's a lot of ideas around, but then you have governance, you have compliance, you have procedures and politics and so on. But we try, and I think there's some elements where we advance. We are active, for example, we're the biggest pet insurance provider in Switzerland under 2 independent brands. We have Animalia and Epona, and we try to build around basically customer engagement through additional services, sort of ecosystem, not really opened up yet, more internal, not really with help of startups yet. But we try. You can buy dog food at Vaudoise today. You have an online shop for features like for cats and dogs. So we really try to deepen that engagement to keep the customer at our units and hopefully create additional business. Then we have other areas like SMEs. We have 50,000 small enterprises as clients, so we try to build around additional services. We have, as you mentioned, Neocredit is a small subsidiary where we offer unsecured loans. So our sales force can also offer unsecured loans to our customers if they don't want to go to banks. And that's then with the link with our mutual company culture, there's a link to the crowd, so the crowd can fund these loans. So it's really a lot of a community building up to feed credits to SMEs in Switzerland and building that up. We have other initiatives in SMEs like engagement in Clara.ch, which is really an open-minded ecosystem type of construction. There's a lot of banks, insurers, and other providers offering products on the Clara platform. And there we're involved with another insurance company, so even 2 insurers basically in the capital, but I think working with them and also trying to offer these services. Clara offers digital assistant services to SMEs to bring that together. And in that regard, building up a sort of an ecosystem view, which is culturally not always easy. You have sort of the cultural mindset internally. You want to be exclusive, and you have to explain that if you open up, everyone is winning. The customer should win in the end. That's basically the main feature, and it's a procedure that takes time and goes on, but starts to work. Yes.
That's one of the things you told me is the way you go about the ecosystem, which is quite interesting. You said we want to participate. We see each other as participant to ecosystem. Why? Tell us more about that.
Yes, I mean, you mentioned that you're an orchestrator in your field. We're a small player in Switzerland. We have 5% market share. We're outside Zurich, based in Lausanne somewhere, and so on. And I think we're not in a position to be an orchestrator in most of our areas. Maybe pet insurance, okay, so we're the leader and we can build around that. But for the rest, we're quite convinced that from an investment point of view, the money you have to put in, the time you need to build something up, the return you expect takes years, and we may be not in the best position to do so. So we're rather in an approach to participate. And I think in that regard, we also maybe less in the intangible side. We also quite on the tangible side. We like real estate, which is sort of our second strategic focus, where we're building up also a lot of initiatives and investment in startups and products where we add on a tangible set. We're a bit more traditional maybe on that side. So yes, we believe that our role can be more interesting by participating in ecosystem, in platforms, than doing a leading approach.
Well, that's a very interesting, an interesting approach. Independently, I would say, even from the consideration of size and investments, because in a way there is so much going on at the moment everywhere that sometimes the real opportunity lies in identifying areas in which you can participate and you can be part of. And
I think that's the biggest challenge. There's so much going on. You need to have focus. You need to really know what you want to do and then do it. And as we're only active in Switzerland, it's a limitation from geographical point of view. I think we have a non-life cultural mindset, so that drives the initiatives, that drives the money where it goes, resources. And we're small. We have limited resources. So I can spend some money, but then I need people to come along and manage it, and there's the bottleneck.
Absolutely. And that goes back also to Roy's point that the business focus is fundamental, and not you don't fall in love with funny ideas, but you go into the focus. Now, let's go to a second round. And the second round, I would like to go a little bit deeper still on the examples, and especially on this tackle of the cooperation and how to cooperate and things like that, because we always say there is so much difference between the incumbents that are slow and very sometimes bureaucratic, but also they're very focused on profits. And on the other hand, there are the startups that are agile, that are beautiful and things like that, but also they sometimes spend a lot of money without a lot of return. So sometimes not. I mean, I'm not trying. So, but here we are the Swiss Insurtech Hub. We want to help the startups to cooperate with incumbents. And I would like, again, I start from you, Stefan. I'd like you to tell us the cooperation between startups and incumbent that is not easy. What can be done from both sides? And especially tell us what you expect from a startup. You have a few examples of cooperation you've done with startups, and it's interesting to hear from you what your perception. Because
yes, yeah, I'd like to share the experience we have with Tony Digital, which is also in the room. We're involved with them, and we started to build up a project to set up the Migro branded insurance. You can buy a private household and liability product from Migro in three clicks. And that was basically set up through Tony Digital with us, what was as risk carrier. And for us, the project took like 7 months, which was for us very quick. We heard before like 2 to 6 months, so we're almost in the range. We set that up last summer, and I think there was a lot of enthusiasm from our side. There were, many people involved. I think at the peak it was 60, 70 people involved, really 30 people going on and all the processes, governance, compliance, and so on. And then you have the promise from the startups. And then startups, you need to go quick, you want to growth, you make promises. And then this cultural, basically, difference is, I think, the biggest challenge to go together and to go to a product that works. And then once it's set up, you have to do the maintenance, the nitty-gritty stuff, and there's a lot of work involved, maybe less sexy or less nice, but you have to do it. And there it starts. So you need to have, I think, a sponsor at the top end of the company. You have really someone who says, we want that, go on, resolve the problems. And if there's any sort of issues, then we go for it. And I think time, you need patience. Because then once it's set up, 12 months later, you maybe don't reach the budget figures, then it's already, it doesn't work. No, take time. It takes 3, 4, 5 years before you can really judge on the success of such a venture or not. And it needs, I think, engagement from all sides. You have challenges like turnover. There's initial people in the project, they might change. There's other people coming along. There's other responsible people on all the 3 parties involved. Maybe the one party sponsor of marketing has changed and so on. You have to manage all these issues and continue to work on it and have a long-term view.
Okay.
And I think that's an important message.
In reality, you have to give the time for the things to take off and not. Stephanie, on the same line, how do you develop cooperation with startups and to accelerate the innovation process? Because you mentioned before that you integrated some startups to do it. And what can a startup do to increase their appeal for the incumbent?
Yeah, I think there was a couple things that have already been said that I would double click on. I think Ravina talked about getting both the decision makers and the naysayers, the blockers, in a room. One thing we did to proactively manage that, both at Toggle and now at LiveWell, is we've set up, let's say, a centralized quarterback for different risk assurance functions that are more embedded inside of our team. So from procurement or legal or risk. And we make them, yes, they stay within their functions because then they know all the hot topics and what's important, but then we embed them into our team. And what's important there is you find the right individual with the right mindset that gets to understand your strategy, is read in early in the process on, hey, this is what we're trying to solve for. We found a good partner. We're really excited about this. But they then know it from the ground level, and it's not going to them at the end of the process is like a check the box phase, because that's when you're in months and months and months of just doom loops. And so we found, again, we sourced the right people. And we also, at the very beginning, went to the right decision makers internally at the incumbent to say, at what level does this actually become important to you? And let's upfront set, is it X number of customers? Is it X number of daily users? Some kind of revenue, some kind of cost? When does it actually matter? And let's agree on that so you don't put me through all your paces if we're below that. And I think that that's really important, is that as the incumbent, the leader inside the incumbent, you've got to manage what I affectionately call the antibodies. And now that I'm in digital health and well-being, I feel like it's even more on brand that I can use this analogy. But what it is inside incumbents, everybody is very well-intended. They are antibodies, right? They are there to do a job. They're well-intended. They're here to help. But when left without a proactive strategy to manage, they can overpower you and they can take you down. And that's what happens to startups that are trying to work with an incumbent. The antibodies come, they come to the business unit inside the incumbent trying to innovate, and they come for the startup, and they can just absolutely take you down. And so you've got to know where the antibodies are. You've got to have a proactive strategy on how to manage them and love on them, make them feel good, make them excited to see your success. And I've had a lot of great success in getting, NDAs in a day, not 6 months. Simple things like that that can make or break a relationship with a startup.
So basically, you have to be a very successful virus who can go around perfectly well, avoiding antibody and do the right mutation over time, and just to
Use
get
their strengths for good.
just to get right. That's very interesting image, and will stay with us. Ravina, from your perspective, then now you've been helping and you successfully. One of the case malady here in Switzerland to develop their customer service, and we cannot say that it's only up to you, but certainly they are very good in customer service, and they achieved a very high level. So supposedly there was a good cooperation and a good activity there. What is the secret? What was the secret of that cooperation?
So I think there's been very interesting points also from the incumbents about, lack of resources and just whether or not the ROI matches. I think what's important for us as a startup is to see a bit of transparency from the incumbent. So we like clear and honest feedback like at the start. So for example, the case study you just mentioned is Suica. So Suica is one of the highest rated in terms of its NPS scores, its customer satisfaction. When we started the chatbot project with them back in 2018, I think it was still a very cool, sexy thing, chatbots, it's great, but they are a Swiss health insurer. It wasn't an easy decision for them to just say, okay, let's just pick up a startup that's an international startup that's going to do this Swiss-German bot for us. So I think it takes a lot of honesty and humility as well from the actual companies that we work with that tell us eye to eye, these are the problems that we have. This is an area that's super important to us. So they told us at the outset that customer service for us is the thing. We win awards year on year. We don't want to change that. This is a very customer, facing thing. So really, it was us as a team working together to build something very meaningful. And that's really the thing, just going live with the chatbot 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the beginning, eating pizzas together, watching it live, really, kind of building this in a very team building way. It's about value creation, as Roy mentioned before.
Yes, it's what Roy was saying before, is the human side that is very important. I would pick up this suggestion together with the suggestion before of setting a limit. When does this new solution becomes for you relevant in terms of business? Because one of the difficulties I've always found when I help startups to go and to cooperate and partner with incumbents is that sometimes they explain in a presentation, explain the technology very much. They go very much into details explaining the technology, but they don't explain what the business results they will achieve. And that's partially a little bit the difficulty. Raphael, you are a big expert in cyber. You've seen cyber, you've insured cyber risk all over the place for many years and things like that. And a startup, we were talking about immaterial and things like that. A startup is very much exposed to cyber risk. So what should they do, and which kind of insurance they should buy eventually, and how they can buy the insurance given that they are startups?
Yeah, look, one of the things that I kept hearing when I did a big round in also Swiss startups, talking about specifically cyber risks and then specialty risks at large, was that we're not big enough to be targeted. We're not interesting. But the issue is you can also become a collateral damage. So for specifically widespread events, we've seen an explosion in ransomware incidents. You don't have to be a target to be damaged. And specifically for startups, it can be an existential threat. I've seen an interesting statistic. I don't know if we have someone from Swiss Re in the room, but Swiss Re recently launched an interesting report. And one of the statistics is that for a startup, the relative damage in a cyber incident is 3 times bigger on average than for a large firm. And so that has to do also with cost for ransomware specialists, incident response specialists. They're just expensive from the get-go. And meaning also that in relation to their revenue, they're struggling much more than large organizations. So my number one advice would be, as an entrepreneur, you have a unique opportunity to embark on a journey, taking cyber risk specifically with you. A lot of the large firms are still playing catch up to this day. We've seen it in the manufacturing space. Financial institutions were always a bit better off because they had to for regulatory reasons, specifically big banks. But a unique opportunity to take this with you, and then ultimately also once you open up to large organizations because you want to scale your product, you will be ready to also pass compliance checks and partner supplier vetting, which is going to become key at some point as well. So should be throughout that sort of life cycle top of mind for entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Roy, when I talk with CEOs of insurance companies, things like that, they always ask me a question. Is Google going to go into insurance? Is Amazon going to go into insurance and things like that? Now, and that's a little bit of the threat and the fear. But on the other hand, there is Google Cloud, who can give services to them. And give me one example of something you've done for insurers that or two, whatever, that gives them real value and that they hadn't thought of, and things like that.
Yeah. So first of all, Amazon is in insurance.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
It's not a secret. Huh? I mean, they just announced it, and that is helping us because everybody was afraid of that. And it's a fair point. I want to maybe highlight that, when we talk about B2C, the question is always who controls the interface? And that is a question that has to be asked over and over and over, because either you control the interface or you become a service provider. And at Google, about a year and a half ago, we tried to become that interface for financial services products. And the product was called Google Plex. It was a collaboration with 11 banks in the US, amongst other with Citigroup. And after a year, we killed it. And I think the learnings from that are extremely relevant, and that are, first and foremost, running a financial services firm, whether it is banking or insurance, is extremely complex. And I think we were not really aware how complex it is. And I'm super happy that we let go of it, because we are really here to empower our customers. So to answer your question, there's zero ambition from Google Cloud to enter that space, unlike some others, because I think our power, and you see it in our growth rates, we are the fastest growing hyperscaler globally. We're growing in Switzerland even faster. Is really to provide the best technology solution we can. Now, quickly on ecosystems, because this is super, super relevant. I think most startups, and I love startups because I know how hard it is, are just not set up properly to really integrate easily into an incumbent's ecosystem. And one thought that I like to share, often we say mobile first, but that was like yesterday. I think now it's really API first. And if you are not ready to integrate your API immediately into the incumbent, you're going to lose a lot of time. So that's definitely an area where we are super, super active. Again, I don't come from tech, but I heard there is something called the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So we are there. So for anybody needing an API solution, we have it. Now on the, it's called APG. Now on collaborating, in Switzerland we work with AXA, We work with Generali. We work with Well. It's not Live Well, but it's Well. Well is built completely on Google Cloud. We work with many others, but they're not public references, so I cannot name them. And one super interesting use case we are now developing actually for two major Swiss insurance companies is flood modeling. So when we look at underwriting this type of risk, when you look at what happened in 2020, lots of damage based on flood, and then also in California and Australia, wildfire. So those are real problems, and this is how we, thanks to our data, and this is maps, but also Earth Engine, we are able to model very accurately where those events will happen, and it has real impact on where is farmland going to be developed, where do we want to have a hydrogen plant, for example, and it affects lives, and I'm very proud that we can make an impact here together with insurance companies to prevent some major catastrophes because of data AI accurately modeling future catastrophic events.
Great. Thank you very much. So our session is finished. I want to thank our panelists. Thank you very much. I hope you appreciated them. If you did, give them a big applause. Thank you.
How amazing to be here in this important part of today's summit. We are waiting to get to know who's going to be the winner of the very first Swiss Insurtech of the Year. And we want to use this time to celebrate the Insurtechs, all of them that they have entered the award. And we want to make sure that we're going to celebrate the winner in order to really appreciate the success they have reached to date, and also to help them to achieve even more successes in the near future. We are getting joined by the audience in live streaming, as more people are joining from the videos, and not everybody could come to Zurich today. And I'm standing here in front of this amazing audience. We have a full auditorium here at Google in Zurich. And maybe for letting know who I am to the people joining us on video, I'm Silvia Signoretti, the co-founder of the Swiss Insurtech Hub, and I'm going to walk you through this special part of today's session. So I must say that this stage is hot. There was so much energy from the previous discussions. We had an amazing panel with super leaders from the insurance and the tech industry. We had great discussions also with Deloitte, our colleagues from Deloitte, Switzerland, in hearing the results of their study. Really, thank you very much, everybody. And then there's all of you here. I mean, the room is full of innovators, of insurance professionals, of techies, and we are all here because we are interested in bringing further innovation in our industry. So welcome, everybody, again. And let's get started with the show. I would like to invite on stage Silvia Savini, the president of the Swiss Insurtech Hub, and also Roger Peverelli, the president of the jury of the Swiss Insurtech Award.
We
been waiting for a long time. And before we go into who are the finalists, I would like actually to have a conversation with Roger. And Roger, perhaps everybody knows you, but perhaps for those who don't know you yet, would you like to just give a little bit of intro about yourself?
Very short then. I used to be a strategy consultant, sort of a colleague of Massimo and of Mark. But when we sold the company to EY 4 years ago, I turned to my hobby. And my hobby is connecting insurers with insurtechs, basically to accelerate innovation in insurance. Basically, that's what I would like to do. Wrote a couple of books, sold pretty well, but DI is my main activity.
Thank you so much. So I wanted also to speak with you all about the process and what we've basically been doing to understand who is the best, not the best, but the Insurtech of the year for Switzerland 2022. And before doing so, I would like actually to talk about our wonderful jury here. And may I actually invite the jury to the stage here with us. Please do come and join on stage. Thank you so much. And I have to say also, I'm sorry that we forgot Mr. Schurman. So Mr. Schurman also was in the jury, and I'm sorry that he was not indicated here, but he was very much present. So, Roger, you are the president of this wonderful, amazing jury. And I wanted to ask you a few questions so that we can understand exactly what has been the framework and the methodology by which you and the jury have been gathering together and have been announced or awarded the finalists. So, can you please tell me about the methodology and the framework, please?
Yes, definitely. You know, like I think we started already a couple of months ago when we had really thorough discussions on what exactly should be the measures to score all the different insurtechs on. And at the end of the day, we came up with like 10 dimensions that we found were very important. And these really ranged from the strategic impact in the industry, the business model, but also in like the future plans, the points of differentiation, all sorts of things that give an idea on the longevity of the concept, but most important also, of course, the impact that it has on the industry, and in particular also the Swiss market. So that's where we started off with. We asked the candidates to fill out questionnaires dealing with those 10 questions, and we got a lot of useful information. Everyone really put a lot of effort in it. That didn't make our task easy, not at all. It became just more difficult to go through all the presentations that were attached, but gave so much extra value to our assessments. And then we had 2 very lengthy sessions to go through the scores, because everyone in the jury gave scores on each of those 10 dimensions, on each of the insurtechs that participated in this award competition. And these were very good and very worthwhile discussions, because we understood so much more from our shared experience on what specific elements to look at and how we should value them.
Thank you so much. And also, I wanted to ask you, as you know, like as a co-founder of the Digital Insurance Agenda, which is a very, very successful insurtech in the world, very, very successful and very well known. I wanted to understand, what was your intake, what was your impression of the finalists, and also of the companies that participated to the award?
Let's first start with the latter. You know, normally every year we assess around 500 insurtechs. That's what we do at DIA, and comparing that with the 20 that participated in this competition, they were really outstanding. So that was really very good. But also, you know, like looking at the things that came across in the panel that we just learned. There were a lot of things that we noticed already in the judging process that also came across in the conversation that we just had. For instance, Ravina, you mentioned YouGot, the creativity using things that you just have available. And what we noticed here was YouGot, but perhaps YouGot 2.0, that is working with the things that are available in other spaces, like data streams from different industries. From what Mark told us, you know, like merging the benefits of operational excellence, but also with benefits of customer centricity, because that's the way to go. Definitely is something that we found also in the Insurtechs that we had in our competition. Virtually everyone was able to merge those two talents that are usually at odds in any insurance company. And yeah, to take a last one, one thing that is also very much present in the 4 finalists is that they really go beyond just top line and bottom line impact for the insurer. They surely do that, but it's even more like that. They contribute to the social and economic impact of the insurance industry, in financial well-being, in all sorts of things.
Whatever they're doing, yes.
Whatever they're doing.
And it's wonderful. And actually, I wanted to thank again the independent jury for being here with us tonight. And I also invite you back to your seats, because now it's time to announce the finalists of the Swiss Insurtech of the Year. So thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you. So may I have the final verdict? Right. So you tell me when it's time to announce the finalists. I'm very excited to hear about who has actually made it there.
Yes.
Shall I go? Okay. So I feel like I'm in the Academy Awards. This is a wonderful. Maybe one day I got invited, who knows? Okay, so finalists here. Well, I am very pleased to see in the finalists 4 wonderful companies. We have Blot, Enterprise Bot, Dakadu, and Knock.
Congratulations to all the startups. Thank you, Silvia. So now the show continues. We are going to get the startups one after the other on the stage, because we really want to get to know them a little bit closer. We want to know what their idea are. We want to know their technology, and they're helping the insurance companies and our customer to have a better experience. So I would like to start to invite on stage, actually virtually, our first startup, Knock Care. They couldn't fly over here to be in person. Let me check if we are on the right. Jose Bastos, you need to move a tiny bit on the other side.
But I am not centered.
Fantastic. I will leave you, Jose Bastos from Knock Care. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Jose. I am the co-founder and CEO of Knock Healthcare. Can I move the slide? And I'm going to share with you some of the Knock numbers. So next slide, please. And I'm going to share with you some of the Knock numbers. So basically, right now we have done an accumulated of 350,000 telemedicine appointments. We are doing over 800 appointments per day, and we are getting incredible traction. Next slide, please. And the most exciting thing that we have is, based on all of the appointments that we have now have 20.8 million structured data entries and 9.6 terabytes of stored data. And why? Next slide. Because ultimately, we are no longer a telemedicine company, but a healthcare data company. And why is this valuable? Because we are working with many international insurers. We are, of course, huge market leaders in our own home market in Portugal, but you will know many of these names like Generali, like Unilabs, like United Health Group. And we are working with a lot of these companies because we deliver something really extraordinary as a product. So next. Basically, a lot of startup companies do telemedicine as something like Zoom or equivalent. And We today already do something very different, which is augmented telemedicine, where because of all the data points that we gather, we are able to improve the quality of the clinical decision, medical insight, and basically optimize the utilization of the doctor's time. And where we are going now with all this that we gather is incredibly more exciting, because with all these data points, you can enter that digital therapeutics and you can control disease and you can help patients improve themselves. And we are not seeing any player in this space doing this. So what exactly is augmented telemedicine? This is remote medicine that uses data to empower doctors to a better diagnosis and continuity of care. And what this means is that doctors are completely at the center of all of the data that we gather, and all the data is visible to them, as you will see next. And of course, same thing for patients. Patients are complete owners of their own health information and of their journeys and of their situation, which precisely means that this is very different and very innovative. So next, because of all of the data that we gather, there is already something that we have real world data that supports. We deliver a cost reduction of over 63% against alternative solutions to ours. Why is that? Because we help with triage to patients go for self-help. We have an incredibly high resolution rate of 85%, and we avoid medical time being wasted. And ultimately, that's the most scarce resource in healthcare. So next, what we're doing now with all of this data is basically developing verticals of care, which are practical applications to this. Next, what is a healthcare vertical? These are basically specific programs determined by disease, age, or other patient conditions where care automation is really valuable. Next, we already have quite a few of these. Acute care is where we started. It's kind of the foundation of all the data that we started gathering. But suddenly we have a patient engagement tool that we sell to insurers, because suddenly they can understand what risks their portfolio of patients are exposed to and act upon them and still complying with GDPR. Then we have two verticals only dedicated to mental health, which again, they're already in the market, generating revenue, generating an incredible satisfaction of patients. Third, elderly care. This is still under pilot phase with already quite a few care homes and many elders, but it's working really well with amazing metrics and ready to go rolled out to the market. And the final three, which are basically cardiovascular disease, weight management, and bariatric, where we are working with pharma, and I cannot disclose companies, but it's pharma, and we are working with pharma to make the most out of this. Next slide, please. So you can think that our product now allows us to build an unrestricted digital journeys aimed at disease management. We have incredible, next slide, we have an incredible dashboards where you can control every patient and see what's going on to increase the practice. And again, this is the value. And now, next slide. Picture this, when you as a doctor or a practitioner or an insurer can have access to all of this data to any patient and see the power that will unleash in terms of treatment. So just to finalize, we can use our augmented telemedicine, next slide please, to basically make a better version of a person, either the healthier version of them, or if they don't, an unhealthier version of them, but of course there will be strong incentives to that. And next slide, and final, this is our story. We started in 2020, we raised a 1.7 million rounds. In 2021, we raised a 4.4 million round, and at our growth rate, we are expected to grow a much more powerful round next year, where we can take this to many other geographies than the ones we are already present. So thank you, and thanks for having us here.
Thank you, José. I really tried my best to keep at pace with the body language, but we made it. So,
That's great.
Very good. Now we have the second finalist, And I would like to call on stage Jos Cobben from Decadu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for. Thank you. That's the first vertical that we started with. Meanwhile, we also have banks as our clients. We're also working with retailers and with telephone companies. We basically offer two propositions. One is a digital health engagement platform, which comes in a white label version and as a backend API first at Decadu. And on the other hand, we also offer health risk quantification, which I will not be spending a lot of time on right now. What we are helping is the insurance company to make the transition from being a payer when bad things happen to actually preventing bad things from happening. So if you look at medical expenses insurance, it's not healthcare that everyone is participating in, it's sick care, paying when people are sick and not making sure that people stay healthy. So we are helping them to make that transition from sick care to healthcare, or in other words, as you might have heard from other leading consultants, to offer prevention as a service or to offer wellness as a service. How do we do that? We offer a well-being platform which offers people incentives to live a healthier life. And here you see some of the outcomes of what we have been able to achieve. But it's not only that what we are able to offer our customers, insurance companies. It's not only health improvement, even though that is an important one. What we also offer to them, and this is the added value of what we can offer, is increased customer retention or reduce lapses or higher persistency. We help them to acquire new customers, but we also help them to offer more products to their existing customers because we help them to create upsell and cross-sell opportunities. We improve customer engagement with a lot of engagement features that we embed within the app. But also nowadays, more and more important, we offer them access to continuous but also richer data, because the data sets that we can generate via our digital health engagement platform is something that insurance companies typically don't get access to, such as data on nutrition, on self-control, on sleep patterns, on activity, or also mindfulness. That is all information that we are able to aggregate for our companies. And then finally, the impact that it has on your marketing story. It's not anymore that you're there when something bad happens, but you're actually able to differentiate your story by supporting people to live a longer and healthier life, and that improves your NPS. So how do we do that? At Decadu, we say we connect, we score, and we engage. Connecting, we connect you as an individual to your personal health. We ask you information. You can connect also your wearable devices into the app. And we then give you a scoring, a health score, a number between a 0 and 1,000, 0 being very bad health, 1,000 being optimal health, normalized by age and by gender. So that then serves as your North Star. You know where you start from, and then within the Decadu app, we ensure that you're being helped by engagement functionalities to actually improve your health. How do we do that? We have a digital coach that gives you personalized and hyper-personalized advice. We work with individual goals. We work with group goals, with challenges, with achievements, with badges. We have a points and rewards system embedded within the app as well. And all of that makes sure that people are willing to go back into the app, but also really make an effort to improve the health and well-being. So our solutions are, as I mentioned, a digital health engagement platform, which comes in two variations. The white label version, which you see depicted on the left side, which comes as your own app in the App Store with your own logo and your own brand and color. And on the other hand, if you already have an app and you want to power your own app, build it on top of our functionalities, we offer a backend API solution. What I want to do now is to give you a couple of examples of where we have been helping clients to actually increase their, support them in the business objectives. The first one is a Swiss company, Swiss Re. It already was mentioned a couple of times today. They have licensed our white label digital health engagement platform, and their objectives were they want to collect data for their underwriting engine, personal resilience suite, or their big 6 lifestyle underwriting model. And they also want to offer a service to their customers beyond traditional risk transfer. So they can now offer our SaaS solution to their customers. And here you see some examples of what their app looks like. Another one is where we have a backend API deal that is with HSBC, and they want to use our app to connect bank customers to sell them life insurance cover. So they made a very snazzy show of it. I don't have time right now to show you the videos, but it's very much oriented towards younger people between the age of 25 and 40. They made avatar. You can play games against that person. That avatar actually serves as your digital coach, and all of that is powered on top of Decadu functionalities. I'm not going to go into this one. It's another Asian example because I want to close with another prime Swiss example, which is Migros. I am a Migros customer. Every now and then I do go to Co-op as well. But you all know Migros, but Migros, they launched a Impulse initiative, which is all about health and making people aware about how healthy they are. And they ask you, or you're able to answer a number of questions within their website that they have. And then actually those questions are being then given the health score, which is the Decadu Health score. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Joost. Thank you very much. Now, I'm happy to invite on stage Michael Dritzas and present us. Oops, there has been a change last minute. You have to go back. This is to show to everybody, this is not a recorded event. So, Ravina Muta, co-founder of Enterprise Bot. Thank you.
Sorry, guys, I promise this is the last time you'll see me. The slides that I'll be using, so they're highly dramatic, not very me. I tried to hard sell this pitch slot to some colleagues here, but they refused. And he had to go home for an emergency, so here I am again. So my name is Ravina. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Enterprise Bot, and who we are. So we're basically the leading Swiss conversational automation solution. So as you can see from our ratings here, one of the things that makes us really special is customer centricity. We're very proud that in the last 5 years of our existence, since 2017, we haven't lost a single customer. Hopefully it stays that way. Now the point is, no one wakes up in the morning thinking that they want to chat with a bot. Really not the first thing you think of. So how can companies really move the needle? Because we all know where NPS scores and customer satisfaction lies for insurance today. The goal for us is to really kind of have an omni-channel AI that is there for your customer in the journey that they are looking for. So whether it's an FNOL, whether it's just, I don't know, announcing a new baby, or it's changing your address, you should be able to do that digitally on the channel that you want to, whether that's still email or it's voice or WhatsApp, for example. So that's really what we aim to do. You already heard from the panel a little bit about our case with Generali. So you can see on Generali Switzerland's website as well that we have Chatty, our live chat, as well as chatbot solution. In addition to that, we also have embedded solutions, which you don't really see because they're really inside the insurer's environment. So for example, when you write an email, as I mentioned before, it usually goes through our AI. The AI then works to do a skills-based routing, sends it to the right department, to the right agent. It can also kind of give insights to the insurer about various things. So that's some of the work we do. In addition to that, we are quite strong in the health insurance space in Switzerland as well. So we have some pretty cool customers, Suica, Asura, Symphony, and the list is growing. We're in conversations with several others. One of the cool things is that most of their problems are pretty similar. So in terms of their data sets, in terms of how we solve their issues, that's really something that we've mastered now with several integrations as well. So for example, with BSI CRM, that really drive customer journey. So these are some of our clients and our key partners. The goal for us is to really make sure that not only their customers, but their employees have the best experience possible, because at the end of the day, it's important to make technology that's easy to use, that's understandable for both user groups. This is also a quick view of our product portfolio. So you can see here, of course, we have the live chat, co-browsing, chatbot, but we also have, for example, Blitzico, which is our no-code, low-code platform that actually enables a lot of those integrations, because that's really key. If you are going to tell me as a user that I need to go onto this link and fill this long claims form, but none of this data actually integrates into back-end systems, it doesn't make a good customer journey. One of the other cool products that we launched earlier this year is called DocBrain. So the goal behind DocBrain is that it uses all of your existing information, be it websites, PDFs, whatever documents you have, to then autonomously build a chatbot for you within 2 to 3 days. Now, this is really cool because one of the biggest pain points is not actually setting up the chatbot, because that's a lot of things that a startup can do, but actually maintaining it. So you might have heard from a lot of corporates that they have a 10-person, a 20-person chatbot team just kind of manually feeding all of this data. That's really what we're trying to kind of move away from. So we're going away from intent-based bots to really kind of looking at what data sets exist and how we can re-leverage them. So that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravina. So now, Michael, I've anticipated your name before. Exactly. Everything counts. Welcome to Float on stage.
Now, quickly, I need you to participate here, otherwise it's going to be boring. Who's in a family? Who has kids? Hands up. Okay. Who's bought a house? The lucky ones. Jesus. Who's changed jobs? Okay, now you've described the 3 risk categories that FLOT looks at, and FLOT believes that you're all stuck in the maze. Because, don't try and kid me, who of you has read your pension fund statement? Probably no one. And if you have, the guys and ladies and gentlemen that have, well, then you're really, really cool. The point is, you've just forgotten that that's just one of 3 pillars, and maybe you're married or maybe you're in a partnership, and, well, the interdependencies, well, they're not taken into account in that pension fund. And it's all on paper. And so what do? We're actually your solution out of the maze. And what we at FLOT really live for is financial well-being. And we're very proud that we've launched something with a Swiss university. We have a benchmarking and a scoring model. Shout out to Dakadu, 0 to 1,000. But we do it on financial well-being. So what we actually do is, when you get called up to go and vote for your AHV, when you don't actually understand what you're voting for, because you can't. You're in Switzerland. There's no aggregation. There's no transparency. No one will tell you what the state, the employer, your 3A does. And then there's your wife, and then there are things like Ergänzungsleistungen and Kindergutschriften and all these things that you don't understand. We actually put that together on your mobile phone. And if you're very lucky and you work with one of our clients, or you're a client of one of our clients, it might come through the post. And it's put into a QR code. And you scan that, and what do you get? You get a full benchmarking of your financial well-being. And it will actually tell you, hey, I don't know, if I look down here, Alessandro, hey, families that are similar to yours are actually better covered than you are. And you think like, gosh, damn, maybe I need to really go and call up the guys from Vaudoise. So what we're doing is we're putting things into context. We're really working with AI, ML to make things easier, not only for the client, but also for the insurer. And we're not only doing this for insurance companies, we're also doing it and starting to look at it with health insurance companies. And if we look at what we put together as our 3 client segments, my favorite one is actually the middle one. So we're not only an omni-channel solution, meaning that we can run any channel for an insurer, whether it's his distribution, whether it's brokers, whether it's direct. And currently in Switzerland, and we don't put out all the names that we work with, but you can probably rest assured that 1/3 of the premiums in the life business are done with one of our tools. But my favorite case is the second case. It's the pension fund. Because people here will sit there and say, oh, you're an Insurtech, yeah, API, you're going to tie up. It's going to be super digital and data-driven. Well, I'm going to just call it out. It's just bullshit. In Switzerland, you get sent stuff on paper. If an insurer tells you they have email addresses, then you can challenge them and say which ones. The primary, the secondary, the burner, the Michael Dritzes at nothing.nothing.com? No. There's a problem there. There's a problem and a structural one. And we as an Insurtech have actually solved that. We have got an encrypted QR code solution that goes on to pension fund statements. You get a piece of paper, you scan it on your phone, and you go from analog to digital, and you can even go and buy a product at the end, depending on how fit the insurance company is that we work with. Because that's another thing. You're also looking at the fact that we talk about digitalization in a highly digitally immature market. And that's another thing that we do. And that's our third case. We embed insurance solutions. And we're a life and health let's say we're a life and health Insurtech, and we really focus on that. So death and disability embedded, mortgage optimization embedded, savings is coming soon. All end to end, all on your phone. That's what we stand for. And as I've said, this is my favorite case, and that's what it looks like. You get that, you check it out, you see your score, and then you go on and you buy something. What impact do we create? That's another question I love, because everyone's like, oh, the KPIs, the KPIs, the KPIs. Well, the point is KPIs are a valuable thing, but customer retention, your just brand perception, the fact that you're digitalizing, or as we heard before, collaborating, bringing in new ways of working to an organization, that's also a value of working with a startup. And if I look at these figures, and we know from some of our best clients, we can really, they've said to us, advisory time, 30 times faster. I mean, you can literally put things onto a data autobahn, as I'd call it. Premium increase for power users, that's just on average. So guys who, or ladies who use the tool properly in distribution can increase that massively. The middle line, self-service. We have 20% click out on our tool, means a client takes action. Whether he buys something, he asks for consultation, he downloads something. The premiums that could be generated, that's just risk premium from one pension fund in 6 months, and the corresponding savings amount is 350 million. And I'm not even talking about all the data that you can generate out of this. It goes back to some of my colleagues who presented before, data-driven. Well, we do it in the financial space, and we really believe that financial well-being should be as natural as tracking your daily footsteps, and stay healthy. But staying healthy also means staying financially healthy, because we're all going to live a long, long life. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much. So before we get to the really emotional moment of the ceremony, I would like to call back Silvia Savini on stage, the president of the Swiss Insurtech Hub, for some final remarks before everybody gets overwhelmed with the name of the winner. An applause to Silvia.
Thank you so much, Silvia. I am hugely grateful for the work and time dedicated to the award by today's independent jury. And I want to thank them again for the work that they've done. I'm immensely proud of our team and what we have built and achieved together. This association is run entirely by volunteers, and each and every one of us has a very, very busy job and a senior job in our organizations, as well as families to take care of. My sincere thanks is to the entire Swiss Insurtech Hub team, who have worked really hard to make today happen. Dear team, I hugely appreciate your time and effort, and I'm hugely proud of you. Please, everybody join me in thanking the team. Please, can you team stand up? I also want to say that this is not really like, a sprint. This is a marathon. So may I ask also the previous leadership team to stand up, because it's not about this year. This is what we built in 2 years' time. So please, everybody who's actually working on the Swiss Insurtech Hub, please stand up. Everyone, please. Thank you. Now, I'm really, really ready to announce the special prizes, because what has come out of the jury and the wonderful companies that have, thankfully, thank you very much, submitted the award ceremony, and the one that were the finalists, we have decided that it wasn't fair to just give one prize, because everybody was really wonderful, and it was really difficult to decide which one was the winner. So I am really ready to announce the special prizes, and later I will announce the winner. Shall I go? Are we ready? So we want to award a special prize to NOC. We want to award a special prize to Enterprise Bot. We want to award a special prize to Blot. To announce the winner of the Swiss Insurtech Hub 2022. May I invite?
Come on stage, please.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
This is for you.
Thank you very much. Amazing.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Well done. Well done.
Would you like to say something, Yosso, or the team?
I'm overwhelmed, obviously. I hadn't expected it. I saw the other three, and we're thinking, oh, does it mean that we're going to run out and not going to get any prize? So I'm very.
No, I'm very delighted with this, but I also want to pay tribute to the people from Decadu that have joined me. Martin Zellweger, who's a member of the senior management team. Daniel Klöckner, who is always helping to implement the solution with clients, make sure that it works. And Jonas Minke, who is actually the brain behind actually designing the tools before we actually deliver it to clients. So thank you very much once again.
Well done.
Excellent. But wait. Don't leave the stage, because I have a couple of surprises. I hope everybody likes surprises. So thanks to the generosity of our partners, we have a couple of presents to hand to you. And I also would like to call on the stage then Mark Gruter, because Deloitte Switzerland is extremely happy to offer a voucher for 10 hours of coaching or consulting with seniors partners. I know you guys know it all, but you never know to have a second pair of eyes. But this is not all. There's another little surprise. Google Cloud and Google Startups would like to offer you an innovation day at Google. This is going to be a customized event for you, tailor-made, to just get to know better what are your business needs or business challenges and match it with the tech expertise Google can offer you. And this is not all. We also have the opportunity to get you as a panelist at one of the founder stories This is an amazing event Google is running in this facility. You will be on stage, and this is something that is offered to you, again, to get further promotion of your great company.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
I have. Thank you, Roy. I am also very good, excellent. So there is actually a third surprise, but the person couldn't come here. Stefan Martin, who's running Riskin, is another company, is another organization, also working with insurance company, would like to invite you next year at their conference, which will take place in Zurich, also to be able to get in front the industry, other professions.
Always appreciate it. Wow.
Yes, fantastic. Those is the basket of presents.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. But please stay on stage. It would really be great. At this point, we would really like to call back Flot, Enterprise Bot, and Jose, if he's still on the video, because we would like also to give you your special prizes.
Please do come. I will love all the teams to come. Ravina. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you. Well done. Congratulations. Well done.
Very good. So, this is for Ravina and the team for Enterprise Bot. Michael, join us on stage.
Insurtech manner, I'm the only one here because the rest is working.
Congratulations, Michael. Well done.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. May I say 2-3 words? I think it's really phenomenal what you ladies have put together, and also the whole SIH, as I call it, internally team. So I think it's really important that we have something like this here in Zurich. I also would like to congratulate yours and the crew, and particularly Ravina. We suffer communally in the garage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really a great event. We are just now at the end of it for those who are on video, because the lucky one being here in this fantastic auditorium, we're going to move to an amazing reception with the opportunity to get to know each other a little bit more. There's plenty of other startups here in the room. They also have applied for these, nominated themselves for this award. And it's a great opportunity also to get to know them, get to know what they're doing, and please use this time as precious time to get further innovation in your ideas. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Well done, Michael.